Keep walking, Bert said. Since a wrestling match in the foyer of the courthouse was probably a bad idea, Libby kept moving, making her way out through the glass front doors onto Center Street in Lower Manhattan. The black Lincoln town car they'd arrived in pulled away from the spot where it had been waiting and drove up to the curb. As the driver opened the rear door, a rush of warm July wind sent Libby's hair flying, tossing long blonde curls over her shoulders. She ducked into the car and slid across the seat, leaving plenty of room for Bert, who climbed in beside her. "You shouldn't pay any attention to Martha," Bert said. "She's always been a jealous fool." Because it was true, Libby didn't argue. "Are you sure there's nothing else we can do about the will?" Bert shook his head. "At this point, Libby, you've got two choices. You can spend a month on the guest ranch, as your uncle's will insists, or you can forfeit your inheritance. I realize you have income from your career as a makeup model, but it's sporadic at best, and let's be honest, your tastes are extremely expensive. Your apartment costs a small fortune." He glanced down at the red leather stiletto heels that matched her outfit. "I would venture to guess the shoes you're wearing cost at least $600. Am I correct?" $800. She turned her slim ankle one way and another, showing off her pretty pumps. "These are Louboutins." "Yes, well, then I suggest you do as your uncle wishes and spend your summer at the ranch." He leaned back against the seat. "You know, there is always a chance you might actually enjoy yourself." Libby scoffed, rolling her long-lashed, heavily mascaraed blue eyes. As a model for some of the top cosmetics companies in the world, she felt an obligation to always look her best. "You have got to be kidding." Bert chuckled but made no comment. Crossing her arms over her chest, Libby fell back against the seat. For the first time since Uncle Marty had died, she felt something besides agonizing grief. She was filled with anger and resentment toward the man who was still controlling her, even from the grave. Worse yet, he was determined to put her life in the hands of yet another man. Libby tried to form an image of the rancher whose orders she would have to follow for the next 4 weeks. According to Bert, the rancher's father, Chet Bridger, had been close friends with Uncle Marty. Then Chet died. His son inherited the property, and the friendship had continued. The Bridger Ranch in the mountains northwest of Denver was a working cattle ranch that catered to visitors for a few months in the summer. But the requirements of the will were specific. Libby wouldn't be one of the paying guests. She would be working as one of the employees who served the guests. Fresh irritation rolled through her. Sam Bridger would be in control of her life. For now. But in a little over a month from now, she would be free to live as she pleased. Libby vowed that from this day forward, no man would ever control her life again. Chapter 2. Sam Bridger stood outside the Vail Valley Jet Center, the executive terminal at the Eagle County Airport, watching a sleek white citation taxi toward the gate and brake to a halt. The stairs were put in place and the door swung open. A well-dressed blonde emerged from the plane, the only passenger aboard. Sam chafed with annoyance as he watched her descend the metal stairs, the spoiled city girl he would be babysitting for the next 4 weeks. During the summer, when they opened the ranch to visitors as a means of making extra money, Julio Santiago, his foreman, or Big John Coolwater, his top ranch hand, usually picked up passengers for the hour ride from the airport back to Coffee Springs. Unlike today, guests usually arrived at the regular passenger terminal, not the fancy private jet runway. Most of the people with that kind of money flew in during the winter to ski in nearby Vail. Unfortunately, this was Martin Hale's niece, and Sam considered Marty a friend. In accordance with the man's dying request, Sam had agreed to adhere to the terms Marty set out in the video he'd sent. In exchange for employing his niece, the Bridger Ranch would receive $50,000, a sum Sam couldn't afford to turn down. Not after last year's drought, the drop in beef prices, and the grass fire that had destroyed 2 of his best grazing pastures. Sam would have agreed to Marty's request without